Since 1982, a summer chorus of the sounds of Champ Car has reverberated off the skyline here in Cleveland. 24 times the checkers have fallen here, saluting drivers who carry names that represent the very best in the sport. From Ray Hall to Unser, from Andretti to Sullivan, from Fittipaldi to Villeneuve, they've all come here, run here, won here, thrilling the crowds with their skill, their commitment, and their daring to. Today, for the 25th time, the field will take the green. Today, Cleveland will celebrate a quarter century of racing excellence.
Concentrate on your mark. Go, 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 go. Green, green, green.
Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. The sights, the sounds, the exhilaration of a 185-mile-an-hour festival of speed. This is A.J. Allmendinger, the newest winner in the 2006 Champ Car World Series. The first American to stand upon the top step of the podium in more than 2 years. In the course of just a week, A.J. was fired by his old team, Roosport. He became engaged to the lovely Lynn Kushnarenko. He was hired by Forsyth Championship Racing. And then he capped the week, becoming champion of the Grand Prix of Portland in front of his mom and his bride-to-be, and his dad on Father's Day. Now, by any definition, that is a whirlwind 7 days. We're at Burke Lakefront Airport overlooking Lake Erie, the silver anniversary of the race they call the Roar by the Shore. The Champ Car World Series, 6th race of the season, and the Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rick Benjamin. Great to have you with us this afternoon on a perfect day for Champ Car racing. All the focus has been on A.J. Allmendinger these last 7 days. What about his teammate? Well, Paul Tracy was the dominator here 1 year ago. Tracy bagging the first of his 2 Champ Car World Series wins in this race just 12 months back. It was a big win for Tracy on a hot afternoon, and he rolled convincingly to victory lane. So Tracy wins a year ago. A.J. Allmendinger is on the pole here this weekend, and Derek Daly, Allmendinger and Tracy, this hasn't exactly gone according to plan.
Well, since Allmendinger brought his great talent to this team, we seem to have times of great joy and despair. Now, Paul Tracy, remember, one of Champ Car's biggest names and established stars, but he's struggling to find the speed to match Allmendinger. Have a look at this here. Tracy backs the primary car, boom, into the concrete wall on the front straight, left to walk away with seat in hand to get into the primary car. A.J. Allmendinger, meanwhile, sails to the top of the time charts. Tracy said, "Let me go." Out he goes, and suddenly on the front straight again, he flies off the road into a high-speed lawnmower. A.J. Allmendinger, in qualifying on the red sidewall faster Bridgestone tires, runs to the pole. Tracy said, "Give me the reds." Out I go, and again he flies off the road. And this time, lucky, he didn't destroy that car against the concrete wall. So the joy of A.J. Allmendinger, first career pole, new track record, and the despair of Paul Tracy, who can only kick the tires and wonder how will he match the great speed of his new young teammate. Well, maybe we can get some of those answers by going down pit side to our Jan Beekes. Jan?
And Derek here with Paul Tracy for his side of the story. And Paul, last year you were dominant, but this weekend's been tough.
No, it's been a tough weekend for our team. You know, obviously I crashed the car in the warm-up. We had a car that could have been on the pole, and got the spare out, and it wasn't set up the same, and I was just really trying to get more than what was available and pay the price for it.
Now, you've been trying hard and going off the track. Is that anything to do with AJ joining the team?
No, it's just, you know, I'm pushing the car to the limit. Obviously, it's, you know, I just feel I've had a lot of bad luck, and I'm, you know, just when I feel something's right there in front of me, when I go to try to get it, it's not there anymore. So, you know, we hope today that we can break out of that funk and get a good result. If
he breaks out of the funk, the man he'll have to beat is with Cameron Steele.
Well, a guy that has not been in a funk, in fact, his dreams have been coming true, is A.J. Allmendinger, and wow, what a couple of weeks it's been, 10 days, and what a change in your life.
Oh, man, it's been absolutely amazing to go from being fired, engaged, happiest moment of my life, getting hired, and so excited about being with Forsyth to Portland, and just decided to win a race, I guess. I mean, it's been unbelievable, and thanks to Forsyth and everybody that gave me the opportunity, and the whole crew, and especially Red Bull. I think I've been drinking Red Bull since Sunday night until right just now before the race.
All right, well, A.J. Allmendinger going for his own streak, starting it with 2. We'll see if he can do it here in Cleveland.
Well, a lot of the focus has been on those Forsyth cars, but here's the guy both drivers have to account for. Sebastian Bourdais has won here twice. He's the series championship leader. Now that he's found victory lane, though, can it be 2 straight for Allmendinger? Over the past 24 years, a distinguished group of American drivers has taken the checkers home from Cleveland. Interestingly enough, a young man who at that time was calling Columbus, Ohio home was the very first American to win here. Michelle Beisner is with him now.
This year marks and celebrates 25 years of racing here at the Cleveland Grand Prix, and right now you are looking at the car that won that inaugural event, but more importantly, I'm sitting next to the man behind that victory, the legendary Bobby Rahal. Bobby, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
How does it feel to be sitting in this car 25 years after that victory?
Well, it feels good because I fit, but more importantly, it brings back a lot of great memories of winning that day. We were all from the Cleveland area, the owners, the sponsor, myself, and to win that race really was very important for us.
Absolutely. Well, I'm thrilled to be sitting and talking with you. The Cleveland loves you. The sport of racing loves you. Thanks so much for being with us. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Michelle. Bridgestone Pole Award, second time in his career, first time this season. A.J. Allmendinger adds his name to a distinguished list of drivers. Sebastian Bourdais still leads the Bridgestone Pole Award standings here in 2006. Our starting lineup, Allmendinger on the pole with a brand new track record in that Forsyth Index 7 car. Series champ Sebastian Bourdais and the McDonald's #1 will line up alongside. Row number 2, Justin Wilson. 4 times he's run second this season in the CDW9 and the Gulfstream 6 car of Oriol Serbia. Good qualifying run for Serbia. Third row, the Forsyth Index 3 of Paul Tracy. We documented his weekend. Nelson Philippe continues to improve. He's in the CTE HVM car number 4. Fourth row, Bruno Junqueira, the Newman Haas hole-in-the-wall Camps 2 car, and Alex Tagliani for the Aussie Vineyards Team Australia squad. Row number 5 today, Will Power, Tagliani's teammate, the other Aussie Vineyards entry, and the Roost Sport 10, Cristiano D'Amata, still searching for speed in his new ride. Row number 6, Speedy Dan Clark in the CTE HVM 14. The MyJack Conquest 27, Montreal's Andrew Ranger, will start 12th here today at age 19. The 7th row, Charles Wolfsman won twice here a year ago in the Atlantic Series, the MyJack Conquest 34, and Catherine Legg in the Bell Micro 20 for the PKV team. Row number 8, Nicky Pastorelli in the Rocket Sports entry, car number 8, Jan Halen in the Muirmans number 11 for Dale Coyne Racing. And the final row on the grid, Mario Dominguez wrecked hard yesterday in the Sonny's Barbecue 19. He brings out a backup car. Denise Kazimets makes his second career start in the Flexivit Abrasives 18 for the Rocket Sports team here today. Getting about set to go, the field rolling away. Derek Daly getting set to look at the championship situation. Bourdais with a 31-point lead over Wilson. Allmendinger now third in front of Ranger. D'Amata rounds out the top 5. We'll be back for the green flag in Cleveland. Back at Burke Lakefront Airport, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland. Round 6 of the 2006 Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford. Derek, racetrack a little over 2 miles in length.
And it is a joy to race here because there is so much room at Cleveland. You can be dared to make the pass. However, turn 1 has been famous for so many years because of so many cars that got damaged down here. This is crossover on these airport runways, very fast and very bumpy. Down through 6, 7, and 8. That's where most of the field has gone off during practice and qualifying because it is blind and very, very fast. But just look how wide it is.
And of course, here the history says turn 1 is always a question mark at the initial start.
And everybody blames everybody else. But this is one of the problems at Cleveland. It is so wide, drivers say, I think I can make the run down the inside. Now, we are 60 feet narrower this year from the inside out, trying to control these drivers, trying to safely get them through this turn 1.
We'll take rides today with 3 different Champ Car World Series stars. Second in the championship, Justin Wilson, 4 times a runner-up this year. The CDW9 car for the Roost Sport team. He carries 1 set of our onboard cameras. Alex Tagliani trying to really get his season started, Derek, in the Aussie Vineyards 15.
Alex Tagliani is extremely fast. They haven't quite put the package together. The Milwaukee crash was a bit of a sideline. He could be a factor today, though.
Charles Wolfsman starts 13th today for the MyJack Conquest team. He has our onboard cameras as well. Before we go, Jan Bikas.
Well, before we go, think about Mario Dominguez. Of course, he was displaced at the Forsyth team by A.J. Allmendinger, but had a huge crash here on Friday at the exit of turn number 8. Remember that this is a super high-speed corner. You carry lots of speed, and kablamo into the wall, an 86G hit. Now, what they feel happened was the front wing became dislodged, got underneath the front tire, no steering, no brakes, huge hit. They went to the spare car. He starts on the last row, hoping for better today.
Now, Mario Dominguez, the third of those drivers, Derek, when the musical chairs stopped about 10 days ago, he moved to the Dale Coyne team, replacing Cristiano D'Amato, the 2002 Series champ, who now drives for Rousport. It is a beautiful day here for racing, often very hot here today, just 75 degrees.
It is absolutely the most perfect weather conditions for racing, and we do have a heart monitor on Bruno Junqueira this weekend, but I'm going to give you the results later on of the heart monitor worn by that man there, Nelson Philippe, last week at Portland. You may be surprised at the numbers.
Philippe starts in 6th position today, and he has been very, very quick. He's been improving week to week, at his first career podium a few weeks back on the Milwaukee Mile. We'll go 97 laps here today. 3 pit stops will be the situation here. The first window could begin as early as lap 15, maybe a little sooner than that.
Tracy was fastest in the warm-up. He's the second of the blue cars. Watch him closely.
Couple of cars scattering. One car goes around. It's one of the MyJack cars, I do believe. We've had a couple of cars in the weeds already. One of the Forsyth cars goes around. That's Tracy throwing up a rooster tail of dirt. As he has problems, Derek, he's knocked the front wing off that car.
Well, well, well. I had my eye on Paul Tracy. He made it safely through turn 1. And then it all went wrong. Left wheel is destroyed. Bourdais is also off the racetrack, as is Andrew Ranger.
Ranger in the MyJack 27. We go caution immediately. We will not complete a lap under green. Let's have another look at what happened. Oh, one car way up in the air over Bourdais.
Tracy, that is Tracy, vaulted right over the top of Paul Tracy. They got wheels interlocked. So Tracy is off. The championship leader, Bourdais, is off.
His day done very early. 2 wins here at Cleveland. This will not be number 3. Unbelievable contact as they were coming up the backstretch. Let's have another look at how they came to green. One car on pit road. That must be Allmendinger.
I think it's Tracy. I doubt they'll get him running. Tracy, the second of the blue cars, right here. Let's see. He gets safely through here. There is Bourdais right ahead of Paul Tracy. Safely through the apex. I don't see any problem here with Bourdais. Tracy gets caught in the middle. Look at this up here. He gets caught in the middle. Ranger has a separate incident all by himself. He gets knocked off the grass. On board with Tagliani. There's Tracy right ahead of him. Blue car. Tracy's pushing him. He's on the grass.
Ranger was in the dirt. Tagliani got into him. And there you see the debris flying. It was headed toward the helmet of Tagliani on Bekas.
And believe it or not, both of the Forsyth cars, we saw what happened to Paul Tracy, but look behind. A.J. Allmendinger had to have a new nose cone replaced, came in with front wing damage. Now they're going to try to work on Paul Tracy's car, but certainly with the height that that car took, you would think that there might be more damage.
I'd be very surprised if Tracy's car is okay, Derek, after an impact like that, catching that much air. Here comes the 10 of D'Amato, the Rousport entry. Cristiano D'Amato, who was the 2002 Series champ, brand new ride for him. Could do no better in qualifying than 10th there this weekend. He is slowly down pit lane to the attention of his team. We've got another look at the first lap incident for you. It was wild. Everybody got through turn 1 pretty much safe. A couple of cars into the grass. Not the big contact we've seen in the past. Have another look.
Okay, so Tracy is behind Bourdais. You see him leave the corner. Tagliani is the first one that gets involved in an incident right there. That was with Ranger.
We could see from Tag's onboard, he caught Ranger's corner.
Okay, here's the big one coming towards you. Here is the big one. Trying to see what happens. Tracy and Bourdais. Oh, just as it goes out of the picture.
That's the Ranger incident that happened behind the big wreck that involved Bourdais and Tracy when Tracy went up in the air. Here it is.
Okay, now, whatever happened, Tracy touched wheels. I'm going to guess it was with Bourdais. Tracy flies right over the top. I'm going to guess they got squeezed.
So Tracy gets back on the racetrack, comes to pit road. One more look.
This is Tagliani. Now watch over here. He's on the grass, so he's going to come back on. Boom! So Tag gets tagged. Then the big one happens right in front of him as Tracy on the left Okay, we'll slow it down here. We're going to stop the video right about here. So Tracy, I believe, has made contact with Bourdais right there. He's beginning to push Bourdais around.
Wing flying.
Now watch how high he goes. Look at this here. Now look at Bourdais' head. Look at Bourdais' head. Oh, he lands on Bourdais' head.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
that's what I was thinking.
He lands right on top of his head.
Goes over the car.
Oh, man, look at this.
The wing, I believe, of Bruno Junqueira's car was what was flying high in the air. You could see the Newman Haas on that wing as it went end over end.
I don't want to speculate what happened, but it looked like Tracy was trying to squeeze inside Sebastian Bourdais.
And they are attending to him. The Champ Car safety team, Dr. Chris Pendersky in charge, of course, Dave Hollander, Jeff Knapp, Bill Kinsey, Lon Bromley over there to attend to the defending series champion, because that was what I was concerned about, Derek. I thought that Tracy's under tray went right over where Bourdais' head is located. The roll hoop, of course, immediately behind. D'Amata in trouble on pit road. They've shut the 10 car off. We'll come back and sort it out for you at Cleveland. Alongside Derek Daly, I'm Rick Benjamin. Jan Beekes and Cameron Steele are on pit road. The concern right now is for the series champ Sebastian Bourdais, but first, our Mazda power play. Let's recap the Champ Car Atlantic Series, a doubleheader weekend. This was the Saturday round, contested yesterday. Graham Rahal here in that yellow car, number 18, getting by Andreas Worth, the championship leader, to take second. Simon Pagenaud, the green and white Team Australia car, was the leader. He got trapped behind lap traffic, and Rahal won the first of the Atlantic Series doubleheaders. The two races here this weekend in Cleveland for the Champ Car Atlantic Championship powered by Mazda. Earlier today on the start, James Hinchcliffe, Andreas Worth had problems. Rahal took the lead at the drop of the green. It was a standing start here as we see two of the Forsyth cars struggling after this. The 37 of Worth, who is the championship leader, and his teammate James Hinchcliffe, last week's winner in the Amexis car number 3. They both pitted on lap 10. Rahal had little to stop him in the second race of the weekend. Graham Rahal doubles, his dad Bobby on hand to cheer him to victory twice. Graham Rahal on the top step of the podium, now third in the championship. The Atlantic Championship leader remains Andreas Worth. Cars under caution. We've completed 4 of the 97 laps here, and Sebastian Bourdais being taken away on a stretcher, but we're told he is conscious at this point. He'll be transported by the Champ Car safety team. Cameron Steele.
Well, I'm standing by here in the pits, and it looks like everybody's breaking down at the McDonald's pit, just standing around, not breaking down crying, but just trying to find out what's happening. Let's send it over to Jan Beekes.
And Cristiano D'Amato, you notice, still has the helmet on. He's out of the car. Cristiano, you hope to get back in, but first of all, what happened out there from your perspective?
I just spun trying to avoid, I think, a Catherine leg going into 3. When I spun the car around and I floored it, the throttle cable actually broke, so they're trying to change it, and we'll see if it's a quick change, if we're going to be able to go back out, or depending on what part of the throttle cable is broken.
Up in front where we saw some of the heavy contact, could you see any of that at all, or was there a dust cloud?
It was just a lot of dust. I just saw pieces. I was just trying to find my way through all the pieces and all the broken pieces of car in the track.
All right, hope you get back out there. Thank you.
As we have another look, this is Paul Tracy moments ago on lap number 1, flying over the championship car. The McDonald's won, 2-time title holder Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais was unconscious briefly, we are told, and is awake now. He has been placed on a backboard as a precautionary measure, and he has been taken to a hospital here. Now, Paul Tracy, Derek, caught major air, damage to the car. They brought him in and fixed it as we take another look at the start and the sequence. One car was offline. That was Tracy into the cones there.
Okay, we're going to run this in slow motion for you. They get around the apex of turn 1. And you see up here, that looks like Dan Clark, but he still gets away. Now watch what happens after the apex. Keep it going, because the incident happens up here. Keep rolling the tape, keep it rolling. Paul Tracy now accelerates, and he comes between this car here and Bourdais. This is Bourdais out here. Tracy goes between them. This is the telltale here. Paul Tracy, I believe, makes contact here as it goes out of the shot, and I believe he then speared or somehow got sandwiched between the red car, which I think may be Bruno Junqueira, believe it or not.
Yeah, Junqueira got caught up in it because it was his wing that was flipping up through the air.
Yeah, I think it's Junqueira. There is Tracy through the dust and dirt. That is Tag, who lucky he got away with that. But right up here, Tracy is being sandwiched between, I think, Junqueira and Bourdais.
and then Tracy just falls. That is a live shot of Sebastien Bourdais. We are hearing that he is, in fact, okay.
They were attending to him. He was awake. They had taped him to the backboard as a precaution. They have loaded him inside one of the ambulances here, the Champ Car safety team, among the very best in the world. And they are taking Sebastien to the medical center, the mandatory ride, you might say, for a precautionary check. He was responding, we were told, to the safety workers. But that was a frightening moment because Tracy's car went directly over the cockpit of the number 1.
Champ Car safety team is the very best in the world of motorsports. Bar none, he is in great hands.
All right, so the good news is that Sebastien Bourdais is being taken strictly as a precaution, not complaining of any injuries. It appears they will do some more diagnostics on the series champion. We will be back in Cleveland. Welcome back to Burke Lakefront Airport. Under caution, riding with Justin Wilson in the CDW9. He will restart second. Coming up, your chance to enter the Champ Car Live Fast sweepstakes presented by Bridgestone. You can win a trip to the Grand Prix of Toronto, plus a set of Bridgestone Potenzas or an Auto Week subscription. The grand prize winner gets a new Ford Mustang GT and will join us in Mexico City. Upcoming this week's code word in the Champ Car Live Fast sweepstakes presented by Bridgestone. The Portland winner, Eric Sauer of Lakewood, Colorado. He and his wife are here with us this weekend in Cleveland. 7 laps are on the board of 97 today. They've all been under caution because of a huge incident on the backstretch as the field exited turn 2. Warming up for a restart, it'll be Oriol Servia and Justin Wilson on the restart. Top 2 spots. Servia qualified 4th. He grabbed the lead because of the troubles that befell Allmendinger, Tracy, Junqueira, and Bourdais. And again, Sebastien Bourdais, we're told, is awake and alert. He's being checked over as a precaution, but the McDonald's number 1 out for the day. And the 2 Forsyth cars back to pit road one more time. Allmendinger needed a new wing. Tracy needed more work as well.
So we can only presume they're pulling these out of line to fuel them to go on a different fuel strategy because they're already on at the back of the field. Jan?
And that is correct, Derek. They're coming in to get more fuel for both the 2 team cars. Now the contact for A.J. Allmendinger was from our current leader, Oriol Servia. A quick chassis adjustment already. The 2 teammates are racing on the exit of pit road after getting some fuel.
And Tracy manages to beat Allmendinger out of the pits, and that's the first win of the day for PT.
And there's the joy and despair right there on our screen. The 2 blue cars so far this weekend are now on an alternate pit strategy. So when all these leaders pull off to pit, these boys will cycle towards the front if it works out for them.
But now the pit window situation. This is a 3-stop race, 205 miles the scheduled distance. We have information that the pit window could have opened as early as lap 10. This isn't quite to lap 10, so you wouldn't really be able to do it now on 2 more stops.
No, the problem is they're going to go green, I believe, so that's the only opportunity they have to make this stop before it goes back to green.
They need at least another caution and another opportunity to roll the dice to make this strategy pay off as we work on lap number 9, still under caution. Jan Beekes.
Before we go to green quickly, Neil, tell me, can this get you now to a 2-stop race by coming in and picking up fuel?
Right now it's a little bit early to tell. We need to do some laps to see what kind of mileage we're getting. It's a slim possibility, but we'll have to see.
Concerned about damage on Paul's car after that big airtime?
Not really, no. I mean, obviously it was up in the air and maybe some underbody damage. We'll give it a few laps and see how the handling is. Hopefully it's okay, but we didn't see anything obvious going on.
All right, thank you. And for those of you, if you saw the blonde hair there, he lost a bet with AJ and the crew to bleach his hair if AJ won. If PT wins today, if Paul Tracy wins, he's going to shave it.
That won't be the only thing that gets celebrated, I'm sure, within the Forsyth Index Championship Racing camp here this weekend. We stay under caution. We are not yet ready for the restart as we begin lap number 10. One more look.
Here's another look we have for you here. This is exiting turn 1, and everybody is reasonably safe except the Ranger incident with Tagliani. That happens right back here. That's separate from what happens with Tracy. But now, here's how it unfolds. And it is Junqueira. He's the left side of your screen. Bourdais is the right side of your screen. Tracy's in the middle. Just slowly go down. See Tracy sandwiched? Sandwiched between the 2 of them right here. That's what happened between the 2 teammates. And, of course, he got hung up on Bourdais. There's the wing flying off here. Now, there's Tracy lands right on top of Bourdais. But remember, there is a roll bar right behind the driver's head, specifically if the car flips upside down or something. And we're going to slow it down here. Slow it down. We're going to slow it down. Watch what happens. Slow it down. There's Bourdais' helmet right in the middle, right under there. Now Tracy's right side of Tracy's side pod is just balanced on the roll bar. That's probably what saved Sebastian Bourdais from what we believe could have been serious injury. But what a roller coaster ride for Paul Tracy. Hard to believe this car survived and it can even continue. Here's real time. First corner, on board with Tagliani. There's a cone gone. Oh, he rubs off Philippe. Then he whacks into Ranger. And it's not over yet because look, there's the wing flies in the air at the top. And now there's all sorts of damage. Hard to believe that Tracy made it through it.
Ready to go green finally. One more time as we begin lap number 11. 10 completed is Servia, Wilson, Will Power, Speedy Dan Clark, and one car around again. I believe that's Charles Wolzman who spun back there. See if Andrew Ranger was able to restart. He's being shown a lap down, so Ranger did restart. One of the MyJack Conquest cars went around again as they came out of the final corner, turn 10, that little chicane. Battle for position. Let's get on board with Wolzman. See what hell, he's stalled. He's dead in the water there. So it was indeed Wolzman who spun as they came to the restart. Up front, Oriol Servia. We've gone caution again for the second time here with 10 laps complete, working lap 11 now.
And as much room as we have here, these boys jump on 750 horsepower, not able to keep it in control. There he is, makes a lawnmower out of it again. That's where Tracy went off a couple of times earlier today, but Wolzman unfortunately did not keep the engine running.
That's Ranger and one of the Forsyth cars, and Wolzman going around.
Wow, a Forsyth car went to the right and to the left of Wolzman. Can we listen? That's all it takes when you give her power on the grass. Suddenly she loops. But you should have put your foot on the clutch, Charles, and keep the engine running, and then we wouldn't be under yellow.
Well, part of what happened earlier in the incident with Tracy going over Bourdais, there were cars in the grass there as well. All right, still under caution, Cameron.
Well, a bit of chaos going on around here, and right now I'm with the owner of PKV Racing, Jimmy Vassar, and you guys are leading your first laps of the year with Oriol Servia. Quite an accomplishment, and I know as a team owner, it's got to be a proud moment.
Well, it's early days yet in the race. Obviously proud to lead. It's best to lead, but you know, we're trying to do a good job here for Gulfstream and Bell Micro. I think we're going green here, but we all hope that Sebastian's doing fine. It didn't look like a nice ride that he took there, but we hear he might be all right, so that's good news.
We're all hoping so. I see the addition of Mark Johnson behind you as well. That's also good news.
Yeah, it's all good news. We're coming to green here, so hopefully we'll have a good, smooth race.
I will send it back upstairs.
All right, quick update. Sebastian Bourdais has been taken by ground for a CAT scan to Metro Health here in Cleveland. He's never been unconscious. He is complaining of a slight headache. Great news indeed, because that was a frightening moment for the two-time defending series champion. Tire marks on his helmet, I'm sure, after all of that. That's a helmet that I'm sure that he'll auction for charity at some point, maybe for the hole-in-the-wall camps later.
Wow, how the championship picture changes. He dominates for the whole season until Allmendinger jumped up at Portland and beat him fair and square. Then he comes in here and he's out on the very first lap in spectacular style.
Charles Wolzman on pit road as they attend to the MyJack Conquest 34. Ready to restart a second time. Again, it's Servia in the PKV car number 6, and right behind him the CDW 9 of Justin Wilson, Power, Clark, and Jan Halen the first 5. That's Halen back there in the white car, green in the air to begin lap number 12.
And Servia is in a car that PKV built last Tuesday. Remember the debacle at Portland? He wrote off 2 cars on board now with Justin Wilson in this CDW onboard camera, but Servia in a car that was built in a hurry. They did a great job. Can he hang on now ahead of Wilson?
If you were with us a week ago at Portland, Servia had 2 cars get away from him and go into the tires at the end of the backstretch. He had to use Catherine Legg's backup car. A little further back in the pack, the fight for position ongoing. As we see the Gulfstream, actually that's the Bell Micro 20, Catherine Legg back there. She runs in 7th position right now, and right behind her, Paul Tracy starting to move up through the field after that huge flight he took over Bourdais.
On a mission. I am shocked Tracy's car still has nuts and bolts that might be straight, but he is on a mission now to see can he just slice his way through the field and then wait for these leaders to begin to cycle off at pit stops, because he has more fuel than they have.
Catherine Legg trying to move by Nicky Pastorelli there. Pastorelli up front. Right behind Pastorelli is Alex Tagliani. Here's Tracy to the inside of Catherine Legg, and he gets through. So PT picks up another spot, move him to 8th now in the running order.
And
Serbia is your leader.
Allmendinger is about 3 or 4 positions behind him, so he is 14th as he came by. There he is right there, left side of your screen. And Juncker is all the way back in 13th place.
Bruno has just had a season that he would, I'm sure he'd like to start 2007 right away, although he is on the lead lap at the moment. They did put a new rear wing on the 2 car. Brakes dragging on one of the Rocket Sports entries. There is Juncker up in front. That would be Juncker with Tanis Kazimets as they race down into turn number 1. Will Power right there running in 3rd in that Aussie Vineyards car. There's Halen. He continues 5th. How about Pastorelli taking advantage, moving to 6th? In the other Rocket Sports entry, the Bavaria beer car. And there is Catherine Legg in the 20. And she's had a tough weekend as she goes off in the grass and spins.
Keep her going,
Catherine Legg right in front of oncoming traffic. She gets it pointed in the right direction. That is the 2nd time she's had problems here this weekend. Everybody back on the button. They're 3 wide down into the corner. Looks like Mario Dominguez has taken advantage in that Sonny's barbecue car.
And Juncker tried to stick his nose down in there. Allmendinger almost made 2 passes. But Dan Clark, I believe, came down the inside to stop him doing that. Or was that Nelson Philippe? I think it was Nelson Philippe.
One of the 2 CTE HVM entries in the mix there with Mario Dominguez. And here comes one of the Forsyth INDYCAR cars down the straightaway. Ranger back there as well.
And this is what happens. You begin to try and squeeze 2 cars into the apex. And it just gets difficult here. But there is so much room at Cleveland that a driver will dare to push his nose inside.
There's Allmendinger in car number 7. He is in 9th position right now on the move behind Paul Tracy. 1 car offline, though, as they head toward pit road. I believe that is Catherine Legg who's going to come toward pit road now. She has a cut tire, we're being told. So the 20 car will be coming this way to the attention of its crew. The Bell Micro PKV entry. Here comes Catherine Legg. And she will make an unscheduled stop. Now, this certainly puts her in 2-stop mode from this point on. Most teams now think there's been enough caution that they can make it on 2 more pit stops today here at Burke Lakefront Airport. Cameron Steele.
But you can see Catherine Legg into the pits and the thumbs up coming from one of the team owners, Kevin Kalkoven here. She had a cut tire. We're trying to find out which tire it was, but she's going to be away with it. Off she goes.
And it has been a good weekend for the 20 team already. They have won the Sherwin-Williams Award here this weekend. It's all in the finish. Cleveland, the home of Sherwin-Williams, one of the event sponsors, the official automotive finish sponsor of Champ Car. One more look at what happened to Lady Catherine coming out of the final turn a moment ago.
Top of your picture, simple grass cut moment. And luckily that was Nelson Philippe and AJ Allmendinger that took avoiding action, and Mario Dominguez avoiding action to make sure they didn't gather up Catherine. There she is again. Slow-mo replay here. Very easy to go offline. And remember, the speed here is over 100 miles an hour as you exit that last corner.
When you come through that chicane, first you're right, then you're left. The fast way, of course, is to be way out on the right-hand side of the road. Is that a question of just too much power when you head that way?
And really, you tend to go off the road when you're already committed as you come through and across the apexes, as you cross over these runways. That was Juncker.
Serbia lapping by Catherine Legg there. He continues to lead, 16 laps complete. And now Justin Wilson in 2nd in the CDW9. He will put Catherine Legg a lap down as well. How about Wilson's season? 4 runner-up finishes in the first 5 events. 2nd in the championship. Couple of wins a year ago. Maybe a little frustrated to this point.
And running 2nd here again. He actually is running a faster lap time than Wilson as you move back to Will Power and Dan Clark, embroiled in a fight here. Great run for Will Power.
Power took advantage of that skirmish on the first lap. Power didn't qualify particularly well here. He started back in the 9th position, but stayed clean of all the trouble and advanced to 3rd on the restart. And speedy Dan Clark. Now, in the early part of the season, a lot of people were pointing fingers at Dan Clark, but he's really come on. He ran 2nd last week at Portland for quite some time, and Clark right now is 4th on the racetrack and doing a great job in the 14 car with the CTE HVM team. Let's have a look back at some of Dan Clark's exploits this year. At Long Beach, he and Catherine Legg had a couple of moments of conflict. He ran out of road at the hairpin. Monterrey, Mexico, the 2, well, he had a bit of a contretemps with Paul Tracy there. PT felt he was balked during qualifying, and Clark then spun the race car and had to get refired in car number 14. At Portland, though, last week, as we told you, he ran 2nd and then cut a tire. His right front had gone down. He guided the car safely to pit road, got the car put back together, came back out, and late in the race passed Paul Tracy to take 6th, and that's where he finished in car number 14. So Speedy Dan Clark starting to earn some respect from those in Champ Car. And right now he is dogging Will Power for 3rd, Derek.
And he's only 22 years old, comes to us from England. There is Speedy Dan. He leads the Rookie of the Year right now. So what he needs is to prove not only does he have the speed, he also has the consistency, and he can be mistake-free under these pressure situations, which he was in Portland, in fairness to Speedy Dan.
Now the guy he's fighting there, Will Power, we showed you a moment ago, just 25 years old, out of Queensland in Australia. He, of course, in his first year in the Champ Car World Series as well. One of the drivers that Derek Walker and the Team Australia group feels they can really build this team around in the years to come. And Power has been impressive several different times this season. Big gain for Team Australia to have Will Power on board. How about Dan Clark's lap times, Derek? He just knocked off a 59 in race trim. He's picking up some speed here.
Dan Clark did a 59.073, which is the fastest lap of the race. So Dan Clark in the CTE car is actually running faster than Servia and Wilson right now.
So Clark continues to run in 4th, working on lap number 20 of 97 here this afternoon at Burke Lakefront Airport. 6th race of the 2006 Champ Car World Series season.
One of the problems here at Cleveland, and it's this section here, it is so fast, there are no points of reference. There are no trees that grow on the airport here, so drivers have a difficulty finding reference points for their braking and turn-in points. Cameron?
Well, I've caught up with Keith Wiggins, owner of CTE Racing, for Dan Clark, and seems like you guys have had a bit of a breakthrough with the run last week at Cleveland. And have you seen some changes in your driver?
Well, I think, you know, you've got to remember he was very inexperienced when he came in. 2 years ago he was doing Formula Ford, so it's a big step, and it's proving now that he's just done the fastest lap of the race, so it's just time. You know, the guy was in the deep end, and he just needed time to get used to it, and I think he's showing his talent, you know, as time goes by.
Definitely a lot of bright lights here at CTE Racing. Not only Dan Clark, but Nelson Philippe has been running well as well.
Now Nelson Philippe sits 9th right now, Speedy Dan's teammate. Nelson qualified 6th, but he got shuffled backwards on that lap 1 incident that knocked Sebastian Bourdais from the race.
And as you see him cross over here, that was coming off the runways. These are long runways here.
You just did the fastest lap of the race.
Will Power.
That's the fastest lap of the race.
And Clark is just hounding Will Power. He is filling his mirrors.
The guy to talk about is Oriol Servia, though. He continues to lead 1.6 seconds to the good now over Justin Wilson. Good run for Servia, who really took advantage. Let's have a look back at some of Dan Clark's effort here this weekend. This was Friday in the first practice.
I thought it was interesting that he said he was in at the deep end. You haven't seen the deep end till you see what happens right here. Look at this for Dan Clark.
All the water caused a waterlogged motor. The Cosworth engineers had to change not 1 but 2 engines to get the 14 car ready to qualify on Friday and again Saturday. This motor obviously working nicely for Clark as he continues to run 4th, chasing Power, who's 3rd, Servia your leader, Wilson 2nd, 1.6 seconds back. Alex Tagliani runs 5th. Paul Tracy is up to 7th, though. He says the car's got a bad push, really a lot of understeer after the incident on lap number 1. This is for 8th position meantime. Nicky Pastorelli in that yellow and blue Rocket Sports car, and Nelson Philippe in 9th as they come to one of the straightaways here. Out of the final turn, you might call it, turn 8, run to pit road, then the little chicane and the start-finish straightaway.
And their mission is to hang on to that blue car right there, which is Paul Tracy, and they are hanging on very well. Now, Pastorelli came to us from Europe, again from the Netherlands, was the ex-Jordan Formula One test driver, had he's taking a chance to go inside Tracy.
Oh, and they make contact. The 3 car goes around. Pastorelli tried to dive bomb Tracy. PT does get the clutch in and spins it again. Gets it pointed in the right direction the 2nd time, and Tracy back on the gas. Pastorelli dead in the grass with the front end heavily damaged. The Curaçao Rocket Sports entry looks as though it may be done. At least he will miss a lot of laps.
Too brave. Too brave. You do not try and pull a move off like that on Paul Tracy. When Tracy's going to chop across to the apex. Oh, Pastorelli was not up alongside Tracy. Tracy didn't even think for a second that Pastorelli would dare try and pull off that move. and boom, there she goes. Demolition Derby continues.
With 74 laps remaining, full course yellow for the third time here today. Certainly an opportunity for some drivers to come to pit road and fill up with fuel, and perhaps certainly try to get it now in 2 more stops. You could short fill probably on your final stop.
That is Nicky Pastorelli trying to get out. He will regret that move. When he sees that on television, he'll say, why did I try and make such a move on Tracy?
Part of the learning curve in the Champ Car World Series. Serbia continues to lead. Wilson, Power, Clark, and Tagliani are the top 3, and Tracy coming perhaps to pit road to have the car checked over as we are under caution. Let's take a moment, take a look at our Ford Bold Moves moment today.
Jimmy Vasser, one of Champ Car's all-time greats, is doing double time this season, going from driver into team management. Tell us a little bit about that transition.
Well, it's not easy giving up the wheel, but instead of just going cold turkey and quitting, we're going to do a few races. We did Long Beach, and we're going to do a few more towards the end of the season.
Tell us about your new toy, the 2006 Ford GT.
I know, isn't it beautiful? It's 550 horsepower. I mean, it's probably the most fantastic road car I've ever driven. I'm tickled pink to get it. I guess it's one of the perks to being a good race car driver over the years that I have an opportunity to have one of these things, and you know, really loving it.
Well, that's fabulous. And, you know, I may not have one of these myself, but can I maybe sway you in any way to get a ride?
Absolutely.
Back at Burke Lakefront Airport, third caution of the afternoon with 72 laps to go. It has been a wild one so far. Huge incident on lap 1, taking out the series champion, Sebastian Bourdais, 4 times a winner this year. His race didn't even last 1 full lap. Last week's winner, A.J. Allmendinger, cycles up to second for the restart. Cameron Steele.
Well, I've caught up with Paul Gentilozzi, the owner of Team Rocket Sports and the owner for Nicky Pastorelli of the number 8 car. What did he say happened? Have you had a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, I have, and it was obvious to him that Tracy's car was wounded because he couldn't settle in. The car was ill handling, so Nicky tried to go inside. Paul doesn't give up real estate very easily, unfortunately, and Nicky got the worst end.
Looks like he's driving with a renewed confidence here today.
Well, you know, it's his 3rd or 4th race. The kid's a smart kid, and he does know how to drive. It's unfortunate today incidents like this took him out.
Definitely we'll have to wait for the next round and see how he can do there.
Well, Nicky Pastorelli was starting to show some signs of being able to figure this out as he had moved up through the pack. And he will be scored at the moment in 16th position. We'll see if they can put the front end of the Rocket Sports 8 car back together. Curacao, new sponsor on that car this weekend. The 18, meantime, Tanis Kazimets, the other Rocket Sports entry. Kazimets making his 2nd start in the Flexivit Abrasives car. He is 14th as we get set for a restart. So it'll be Junqueira with the restart pole, Jan Bikas.
Yes, just before we come to the restart, Neil, is this enough yellow now to help your pit strategy?
It certainly helps, yeah. We probably like to have just a little bit more to be able to do it in 2 stops.
Okay, we'll let you watch the green. Of course, what he's talking about, a bit more yellow, they can stretch it, and they might have one more stop.
Working on lap number 26, green and going. Junqueira, that's Allmendinger up to second. Move for third. That is Dominguez trying to dive bomb and get to the inside of Serbia, and he did it. Mario Dominguez and Dale Coyne, Sonny's barbecue car. Great move for Dominguez, who wrecked one car here this weekend, and here comes Allmendinger on the inside. Allmendinger is up there in 2nd spot now.
Actually, that was Paul Tracy who made the move. Now, we thought Tracy might have been wounded because of the comments of Paul Gentilozzi, but it looks like he is still on the mission to keep this thing on the road. But Allmendinger now is in a straight fight with Bruno Junqueira. Allmendinger, after the warm-up this morning, said my car is between fast and really fast. So he's very much looking forward to a long fight here as these laps roll on.
During that caution, a lot of cars stopped, including the CDW9, the Rousport car of Justin Wilson. Big move for the lead. Allmendinger elbows his way by Junqueira. Through turns 9 and 10, Allmendinger says, hey, out of my way, I'm going to the front. And he has got the lead into turn 1. Another car flashes down on the grass. That's Wilson trying to make a pass. Heavy action all over the place. Wilson and Dan Clark side by side. Give Wilson 7th as he gets by Speedy Dan on the bottom.
Wow, turn 1 gives you the opportunity to come down the inside, but you better make sure you come all the way alongside as Dan Clark loses another position.
That's Tagliani trying to move by Clark for 7th, and he got him. Alex Tagliani, who was involved in that lap 1 incident, had a left front wheel impact. Here's another look at the pass for the lead.
And this is the end of the back straight. This is before you get to the chicane. Oh, he moves over to try and get a better line to come across the runways here. but he pulls it off in the brake zone. Good move by Allmendinger.
So Allmendinger, who was the fast qualifier, he had a little wheel touch there.
Freezes it down. I don't think they touched, but I'll tell you what, that was as close as you need to be at 125 miles an hour. Now Allmendinger is setting sail. He's out of sequence on the pit stops, so he needs to pull a gap if he is to try and maintain the lead when he begins to cycle through his pit stops.
Now remember, Allmendinger had to stop there in that first caution after lap number 1, but they've got the car straightened out, and Allmendinger is fast, John.
He is fast. Consider the fact, Derek, you were just speaking about being out of sequence. Of course, he had hot tires, a lighter fuel load, so really, Bruno Junqueira was easy pickings for him. So now what they need, as you heard Neil Micklewright say, a bit more caution so that when they pit, they don't give these positions back up again.
Exactly, Jan. Allmendinger just to the fastest lap of the race at 58 seconds, 0.892. This man is absolutely flying right now.
Derek, after last week's win at Portland, where he wired the field essentially, led 100 of the 105 laps. Here's Junqueira, Dominguez in third. Do you think it's a case of Allmendinger now having a ton more confidence now that he knows what it's like to win one of these races?
Without a doubt. He now walks with a bounce in his step. He has a smile on his face. Allmendinger now knows he can do it. He believes he can do it. The confidence level goes up. The ragged edge goes up. You will see him win a lot more races. But what about our boy Mario?
Man, nice move to get to third for Dominguez, a guy who's really battled adversity. Last week he appeared to be just lost. Remember, he lost his ride with the Forsyth team. Allmendinger got in that car. Had to go to the Dale Coyne squad. He took over the seat that Dabata had vacated. This was yesterday for Dominguez.
Have a look at this. Watch the front wing if you can see it very carefully. Wing turns up. Boom! He smashes the wall and literally destroyed that car. The front wings turned up. They became dislodged somehow. He was a passenger and absolutely lambasted the concrete wall. That car never ran again. This is the spare car. I am really surprised that Dale Coyne and the Sonny's Barbecue have done such a good job to make this fast.
Cameron Steele.
Well, Derek Daly was just saying he was surprised at how well Mario's adapted to this backup car. Are you as well surprised?
Yeah, I mean, it's a car we don't use very often, and we got it ready. The guys did a good job, and he's up to third now, so that's been a mess. So there's a bit of strategy going on, but he's doing a good job.
What about the personality of Mario? It seems like he has a little bit to prove here today.
I think we all have a little bit to prove, so hopefully it goes good. It's not a car that he's used to, and probably not as good a car as he had before, but he's doing a really good job in it.
He certainly is, overcoming adversity and running third.
Mario Dominguez with Paul Tracy next in line. PT has battled back after catching major air in the 3 car and then getting turned around a couple of laps ago by contact with Nicky Pastorelli. Tracy is up in 4th right now with a car that he says is ill handling at the moment. But Dominguez very impressive, Derek Daly. Last week we said at Portland he just struggled really all weekend. Got in the car late, didn't have it to his liking, ran the race, was about all you could say. Battled back from wrecking that car yesterday. Backup car for the team. 3rd with some heady driving here in the early going. He's got 18 seconds of Cosworth power to pass time left. Top of your screen will show you what's left in the 60-second bank for these teams. If you're not familiar with this part of Champ Car World Series racing, Ford Cosworth gives these drivers an extra 50 horsepower on tap with the push of a button on the steering wheel. You get it in 10-second bursts. You have 60 seconds worth. And Dominguez has used, well, 42 seconds of his allotted time at the moment. Charles Wolfsman has yet to use any. Allmendinger with the lead has used all but 31 seconds. So guys can use that offensively or defensively.
And Bruno Junqueira has often been one of the yardsticks in Champ Car racing. The last 2 laps by Mario Dominguez have been within 0.05 of a second of that man there leading on the front of your screen, Bruno Junqueira, within 0.05 of a second. Dominguez might be surprised himself just how well he's going here. Servi and Wilson right there.
Battling for 5th position. Wilson here in car number 9, the CDW entry. 4 times a runner-up already this season. He's yet to win, though. A couple of victories a year ago. Currently 2nd in the championship, but with Sebastian Bourdais having problems today, getting taken out on lap 1, Wilson's got an opportunity to make some hay here this afternoon at Cleveland. Now we're showing you the split times and the time differential between Servia and Wilson.
Watch his hands over the runways. The bumps are what fight against the steering, and driver hangs on and puts it back onto line. See it here again, look. There he fights it. Now it's bumpy through here. This is 7 and 8. Well, you can be inch perfect in these cars and still not be able to run down the driver ahead of you. In this case, it's Oriol Servia.
Well, Wilson had to make that second stop during the caution, and that really put him behind. He's about 13 seconds behind his ex-teammate, A.J. Allmendinger. They ran 1-2 at Portland 1 week ago. Wilson in the CDW car number 9, showing you that gap. It grew a little bit on that lap between Servia and Wilson. This is Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series, powered by Ford, the folks who make the Bridgestone tires. A key element, certainly, of this series and this event in Cleveland. Right, Jan?
Yeah, so we've caught up with Al Spire, who can give us some information, first of all, technically on the Reds versus the Blacks. They seem pretty close. What should be the team strategy?
Well, unfortunately, Jan, we didn't get as much difference between the Bridgestone Reds this race from the Standard Blacks, so I don't think tire strategy is going to be a big factor, but we're going to work on that. Cleveland is a great race to come to, so wide open. We want to come back here next year with a bigger difference between the two tires.
Now, over your shoulder, we got a whole bunch of action. You got your own grandstand or what?
Well, that's our Bridgestone grandstand. We've got people from a polymers division, a credit card group, and of course our Akron Technical Workshop, where all of these Bridgestone Potenza tires are made.
I don't know. To me, that looks like the Al Spire fan club, guys.
Well, it might turn out to be the A.J. Allmendinger fan club as well today. He's on the Bridgestone Blacks as the folks from Bridgestone Tire really whoop it up here at Burke Lakefront Airport. Allmendinger setting quick lap of the day a moment ago, Derek.
And you can see he is on the Bridgestone Potenza black tires. The red ones are introduced to give a variable in the race. They're usually 3 to 5 tenths of a second faster, so you can use them whenever you want during the race. As Al just said, there's not that big a difference, so maybe the blacks are just as fast. I actually remember at Portland, Bourdais said there was so much rubber went down on the racetrack that the blacks actually were not at a disadvantage at all over the red. But look at Allmendinger here. He just set another race fastest lap at a 57.658. Wow, he is a second quicker than Junqueira. Jan?
When you're talking about the Reds and the Blacks, Derek, the Reds are a little bit faster, but it changes the balance of the car. So if you come in and you decide to change from red to black or vice versa, you have to make a front wing setting change to make the thing balance out.
Allmendinger in perfect balance for now. He's got a little bit lighter fuel load than some of the other cars up in the top 10, but it has been Allmendinger's day since that huge incident in lap 1. Junqueira trying to stay close. Dominguez runs third. Wilson sixth in front of Power. We'll be back. At Burke Lakefront Airport, under caution for the 4th time today. Denise Kazimets had the Flexivit Abrasives 18 car get away from him between turns 1 and 2. Spun the car, installed it. He just got a tow. Here's another one.
It's our famous turn 1. Get on the power. 750 horsepower right around there. Not enough grip. And oh, look, he kept it running for a short time.
Thought he needed a tow there, though. He did get some help eventually. He stopped in the middle of the racetrack. Now, what this does, Derek Daly, this sets up an interesting situation. Pit road will open, I would assume, this time by A.J. Allmendinger was getting close to a pit stop. He should be able to make that stop under caution, I would imagine.
This is really going to help him. There's Junqueira's team is right behind them. Dominguez is ready for their man.
Dominguez runs third, remember. It's Allmendinger, Junqueira, Dominguez, and Tracy. Servia fifth after all that carnage in lap 1, taking out Sebastian Bourdais, shuffling Paul Tracy back. Justin Wilson is sixth as they prepare for pit road.
I'm still absolutely blown away that Paul Tracy is still in this race after an enormous crash that looked like it destroyed his car. He can still run in 4th place.
Pit road open. Here come the leaders. Here comes Allmendinger. Followed by Junqueira. Tracy is third in line. Cameron Steele.
Mario Dominguez in the pits taking another set of red tires. Dale Coyne said he'll take the blacks later. You can see they're putting just a little bit in the front wing. He said everything else is perfect. Let's go to Jan Beacon.
And we see the Forsyth boys as well as Justin Wilson all pitting at the same time. We're also keeping an eye behind for Bruno Junqueira. The guys who stopped early like Dominguez are already on their way here, and they're almost going to be very tight. Justin Wilson is the first one out. Wow, it's close. Paul Tracy. Wow, Paul Tracy lost a lot of time. That's as close as you get, folks, on the exit of pit road.
Big scramble to get back to the racetrack. Couple of cars side by side. We'll see who comes away with the restart lead. Scoring showing us Alex Tagliani, who may not have pitted at that point. Several of the teams on different pit stop strategies because we've had so many yellow flag laps already, Derek Dale.
Tagliani, Philippe shown first and second. Well, that's not going to be how this race plays out, because it's going to be here with Allmendinger versus Wilson. Right there. There is Allmendinger. And Justin Wilson right ahead of him. When this cycle's through after one more lap, it'll spit out the scoring as to where everybody is.
Paul Tracy ready to get set for a restart here at Cleveland with 58 to go. Let's listen to the moments ago, Neil Mickelwright telling his driver Paul Tracy to go, go, go. And you got the view from the left front tire changer's vantage point, that helmet cam today. And that would be Warren Wilson handling that tire as the green is about to reappear at Cleveland to begin lap 40. 55 to go. We're back underway. It's Tagliani on a different fuel stop strategy. He did not pit, neither did Philippe. Justin Wilson being shown third now. Then Allmendinger, Junqueira, Power, Serbia, Tracy. Dominguez got shuffled back to 9th and Dan Clark 10th. Now there's Andrew Ranger, and he is a lap down. Remember, he spun twice today. Ranger being shown right now in 13th position.
And you saw him on the red sidewall Bridgestones, so they are a touch faster if you get the balance of the car adjusted properly. Maybe that's why we saw some of the balance changes that we saw for Mario Dominguez, but there is Tag. He is running for all he's worth here ahead of Nelson Philippe, who has yet to lead a lap in his Champ Car career.
Now, if Tag can make some hay here and the caution flags fall appropriately for him, he could have an opportunity today, although he's on a much different sequence from Allmendinger.
What about Nelson Philippe right behind him? Another driver who has matured so much with the HVM CTE team. Teammate to Dan Clark. Oh, brake zone comes right up behind Tag and locks up the right front.
Nelson Philippe knows he's got an opportunity to lead laps here at Cleveland if he can get by Tagliani, who has not been that fast this weekend in the Aussie Vineyards car.
But don't flat spot the tire. We saw that was so costly to Wilson in Portland when you sandpaper off the bottom of the tire in a flat spot when you lock the wheels.
As we review Tagliani's season, if you weren't with us on the Milwaukee Mile 2 races ago, he wrecked hard on Saturday, so hard in fact they couldn't put the car back together, and Tag had to miss the event on the Milwaukee Mile, damaging his championship hopes this season as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Still with Tag, who is your leader, 41 laps complete, 54 to go.
Look how little suspension travel you see, a little bit as it goes across the bumps, but these cars are so
Paul
stiff.
Tracy's in the wall, Derek, right by where our location is here. Paul Tracy, we're being told, has gotten in the wall. It is indeed the Forsyth Index 3 car of the former series champion. Paul Tracy takes the wheel off. That's the second car he has hit the wall with this weekend, and PT is done for the afternoon, it appears.
Well, well, well. That is the end of our day.
One more look.
That crash might not have been as big as the other one, but this is going to take him out. You understand? Oh, he gets her sideways. Just gets it sideways, smacks it, first with the left rear, and then just drives it in to park it.
The thrill from West Hill. Remember what happened earlier? We showed you a little recap of Paul Tracy's weekend here. He had nearly gotten into the wall with that car. That is a backup car after he wrecked his primary car during practice and qualifying. And the Forsyth Index team up on the timing stand. They know their day, at least with the 3 car, is done.
There's the boss, Jerry Forsyth, right there having a look at the big screen TV. They see our program. But this is a very fast 125-mile-an-hour corner here right outside our announce position. Oh, Paul misses the apex. He misses the apex and he understeers, realizes he's in trouble. He's in the marbles, gets it sideways, whacks the wall with the left rear. And that was all she wrote for the day, Paul.
Now, we had been told earlier the car had a bad push. He was fighting an evil handling race car because of that contact on lap 1 when he got launched over Sebastian Bourdais. Another look.
Yeah, that is the one. The one, but you saw on our first replay there, he completely missed the apex. And once you move over that wide, you get on the marbles, on the little stones, on the gravel, on the dust, on the dirt. And once you get on that, you lose the grip, and suddenly you go wider, wider, wider. And then the concrete walls just are unforgiving.
The thrill from West Hill. Paul Tracy will take the ride back with the Champ Car safety team. But Derek, as we've pointed out, I think it's amazing that he's even was able to race that car effectively for 40-some laps, considering the fact that he flew over the top of the series champion Sebastian Bourdais back on lap number 1 as they came off of turn 2 here. Beautiful day for racing at Burke Lakefront Airport. You'd think we were at night under a full moon. It's been that wild. Right now it's Tagliani leading Philippe, Wilson, and Allmendinger. We'll be right back. Back at Cleveland with your chance to enter the Champ Car Live Fast sweepstakes presented by Bridgestone. Winter trip to the Grand Prix of Toronto in 2 weeks. Plus a set of Bridgestone Potenzas and Auto Week subscription. Our grand prize winner gets a new Ford Mustang GT and will join us in Mexico City. Code word this week is Justin. The rules and an entry at champcar.ws. The Champ Car Live Fast sweepstakes presented by Bridgestone. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland's silver anniversary on lap number 45. 52 remaining here. A lot of caution. Our 5th yellow of the day as we ride with Charles Wolzman. The MyJack Conquest car number 34. The MyJack organization, the new promoters here at Cleveland as well as at Houston. And this event has been revived in its silver anniversary season. Good news from the hospital on Sebastian Bourdais, the 2-time winner here and the 2-time defending series champion. 4 victories this season, taken out in that lap 1 incident when Paul Tracy went right over the top of the McDonald's Newman Haas number 1. We're told that Sebastian doesn't really remember the accident. He just remembers someone, and it was PT, his old friend from the last couple of seasons, on top of Bourdais, and did leave tire marks on his helmet, we're told.
That was pretty scary as you watch this unfold. Still hard to believe that Tracy survived that. I mean, that looks like a mangled wreck right there, and he still did 43 laps.
And the good news for Bourdais, he still got a sense of humor. The word is that the most painful part of the incident was being stuck with the needle before the CAT scan. Paul Tracy co-driving the wrecker that brings the INDEC car number 3 back to the paddock here at Cleveland. On board with Alex Tagliani, who continues out in front. We're anticipating pit road being open, but Derek, with 5 cautions, lots of laps under yellow, we're almost to the second window. Well, we are in the second pit stop window for some teams, but Tag had stopped back on lap 24, so whether he would stop again now is an open question as we watch Tracy taking that long ride back. Jan Bikas.
And you see the car on the hook, and Neil McRide, I know you've seen those replays. What happened to Paul?
We don't know 100%. Obviously, he hit the wall over in turn 8. With the left rear first. We suspect that it's probably a failure on the car as a result of the earlier accident. Quite honestly, the fact that the car was still out there running competitive laps is a bit of an amazement to all of us, considering it was so far up in the air and there's quite a bit of damage. But you know, Paul was doing a fantastic job. We could see on the data that the car was really not very good, and he was turning in very competitive time. So it's unfortunate, but thankfully nobody's hurt.
What about AJ?
AJ, obviously, he's running pretty well right now. His car seems to be working pretty well. Some things are going to have to shake out in the final pit stop when it comes around, but hopefully he's got enough speed to get up there and challenge Wilson and ultimately take the win.
Looks like we should have a good finish. Thank you, Neil.
Now notice that Neil did not say challenge Tagliani and Philippe, because they are going to have to peel off before Wilson and Allmendinger, because they are lighter on fuel right now. They did not stop on that last yellow, so he thinks it will be a straight fight here between Allmendinger and Wilson. Woo! This is about to get good here, boys.
As we take a look at when these cars pitted, the top 2, Wilson, or rather Tagliani and Philippe, both pitted last on lap 24. Wilson, Allmendinger, Junqueira, and Power all stopped on lap 39, as did Servia, Dominguez, Dan Clark, Halen, and Zwolsman. The cars running from 3rd back through 11th, so they will be presumably on 2 different sets of fuel stop strategy. We're closing in on halfway, 50 to go this time by. This will be lap number 47 as they come to the green flag with Tagliani, your restart leader in the Aussie Vineyards number 15.
Nelson Philippe would look to try and get a jump here on Tag and try and lead a Champ Car race.
Off the final corner.
What happened there?
Looks like it was waved off. No start. No start. They will stay under caution at this point. No start.
What? We were on board with Tag. We saw him accelerate, and then you could hear him back off. Maybe they thought he ran
J.D. Wilbur at the flag
Fast.
stand, along with race control, determining that we were not ready to go green this time by not holding a constant speed. Camera.
I'm here with Rob Edwards, the general manager of Aussie Vineyards Racing, and the alternate strategy, or the strategy you guys chose early, you're sticking with it, aren't you? You didn't come in you're not going to come in on the next yellow?
Yeah, we really didn't need this yellow. When we committed to the strategy we're on, we really needed it to stay green all the way till we were going to stop. We didn't get that, but now we're committed to it. If we stop now, we're just going to shuffle ourselves to the back of the pack. So we're committed to it. We'll make the best of what we've got.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Down to Jan Beekes.
With Carl Russo, we heard just from Neil Mickelride, he thinks this is going to come down to another AJ-Justin battle. What do you think?
I think that's another Roosport one, too. Great decision, huh? AJ's doing a great job. Justin's doing a great job. I think they both got good race cars, so I think that's what it's going to come down to. By the way, I hope things are well with Sebastian. We didn't think anybody had takeoff clearance rights on this runway when we were running the race, but a pretty bad-looking accident, so hopefully he's okay.
The good news is he is fine, Carl. He has a good humor in the hospital. He's called on the cell phone. Everything's good, and we're going to green. Thank you, Carl.
Green is back in the air to begin lap number 48 here.
Green flag.
At Burke Lakefront Airport, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland. Single file down into the corner. And as Tagliani and Philippe scramble to the inside, one car gets loose. That's Halen trying to pass. Boy, Derek, they never seem to get the idea that dive bombing into one just doesn't work here.
Jan Halen was so waxed lucky that he didn't wipe out two cars right there.
Man.
He was out of control before he ever got near the apex turn-in point.
Now, that's a rookie mistake, you'd have to say. His first time to Cleveland. Here's Allmendinger inside Wilson. Allmendinger trying to grab third. They have not gone full course yellow yet. We may stay just local yellow here. They're going to try to give a tow to Halen, see if they can get him off the racetrack and keep this under green now.
Come on, boys, hurry up, here they come.
That is Kazimets, and he is a couple of laps down. 3, as a matter of fact. He is not the leader. Halen getting pulled and bump started, and he gets refired. So they get Halen out of the way. Kazimets in front of the leaders. It's Tagliani and Philippe closing in on Tag.
But the key move was Allmendinger has managed to move past Wilson. That is the key move. Is this going to play out?
Here he comes again. Tagliani up front, but here comes Allmendinger moving by the lap car of Andrew Ranger. Wilson right with him, but the lap car will separate the two.
Oh, Allmendinger looks good. He just looks good. He just looks confident. You know, Rick, that they're confident here when they begin to duck and dive and take chances, take risks. But look at this. Wilson just lost another position.
Bruno Junqueira just getting by Wilson. So move Junqueira to 4th now in that hole-in-the-wall Camps Newman Haas car. Wilson may have a little bit of a problem in the CDW9 as they pour out of turn 8 down the long straightaway toward pit road.
This is where AJ made the pass earlier on in the brake zone. Wilson's not close enough. Over the runways, bang, hits the bump, bang, hits it again.
Onto the main straightaway. Over start finish, 50 laps complete. We're past halfway for Tagliani. Ranger in the midst of things, as is Kazimets. Those are the leaders, though. Allmendinger sitting 3rd right now. He just has a fast race car, Derek. That's 7 car. We saw Mario Dominguez win the pole with it in Houston. Allmendinger waxed everybody a week ago. He is flying, Jan Beekes.
Well, you talked about the person who wasn't flying, Justin Wilson. Just checked with Roosport, and what they're saying is they feel he just lost momentum, just couldn't get up to speed on the restart. But I'm wondering, Justin Wilson all weekend hasn't liked the red sidewall Bridgestones. This is the one stint they're going to run them. He doesn't just seem comfortable to me.
No, he does not, Jan and Derek. It appears to me that he is just not up to speed at the moment.
And that's a good point that you make, Jan. The red Bridgestone sidewalls, you have to run them at least one stint. It is not an option. You must run them at least one time. And there is Bruno Junqueira in the Newman Haas car. Paul Newman is here watching both his drivers, as he always does. But Junqueira quicker than Wilson at the moment.
He is 4th, Wilson 5th. Willpower, Oriol Servia, who led earlier. Dominguez, Dan Clark, Charles Wolzman. Alex Tagliani and Nelson Philippe with their own private war going right now at Burke Lakefront Airport. We'll be back. The battle to be #1 in Cleveland, that is up for grabs. Nelson Philippe trying to get by this car driven by Alex Tagliani. Philippe is dogging Tagliani. You saw the Sherwin-Williams and Roche-Franz logos on the right front corner of the 15 car. Philippe to the inside. He wants to lead laps here at Burke Lakefront Airport. He and Tag are battling, and it's Philippe to the front.
Wow.
Nelson Philippe at age 19. First podium came a few weeks ago at Milwaukee. He has cleared Tagliani and set sail. Look at that, Derek.
Okay, Nelson, let's stay nice and calm here. This is a big day. In front of the television cameras, you're about to pass your pit here. Everybody's going to see what's going on. Nelson Philippe, the Rookie of the Year, or last year, the Bosch Most Improved Driver. He's only 19 years old. I mentioned the heartbeat monitor he had in Portland. Last week, during qualifying, his heartbeat got as high as 203 during qualifying, and over the course of the 2 hours of the race, he averaged about 175 beats per minute average. But Nelson Philippe here in the brake zone. This was a risky move here by Nelson Philippe. Tag gave him enough room, but that was a great move right there.
That had the earmarks of a situation where Philippe knew that Tagliani wasn't as fast and might have been holding him up a little bit.
On board again,
here, yeah.
And this is Tagliani here. I mentioned the suspension movement earlier on. This here is the push rod, and this activates a shock absorber that sits under this little half here. That is how
leaders are on pit road, Derek. Philippe and Tagliani decide now's the time. They've gone 30 laps since their last stop, make it 31. Tagliani on pit road first. Here comes the 4 car. Philippe pulls the tear-off away. Coming to get the attention of the HVM crew. And here he is for tires and fuel. Jan Bikas.
And they're not looking to make any changes, and most specifically, he goes with the black sidewall tires. Tagliani is underway, but easily, Nelson Philippe easily beats out Alex Tagliani. That was a great stop by the CTE crew.
8-second stop for Philippe. That's the way you want to rip him off, Derek Daly, under green flag conditions.
So now, as these two peel off, it has left Allmendinger, Junqueira, and Wilson, and Will Power and Servi in the top 5. Now the race really starts at the front with Servia, or with Allmendinger, as you're on board here with Alex Tagliani, still in the fight with Nelson Philippe.
Now let's reset. AJ Allmendinger, car number 7, last week's winner at Portland on CBS Sports. First career win for the youngster at age 24. He is your leader. Bruno Junqueira 3.5 seconds back. So Allmendinger really in a class by himself regarding speed. Justin Wilson moves to 3rd. Will Power is 4th. Oriol Servia 5th. Then it's Clark, Mario Dominguez. Philippe comes back on the racetrack 8th with Tagliani. And there is your new leader, last week's winner and the pole sitter here with a new track record this weekend, AJ Allmendinger. That track record quite a feat, and that told us how fast he was, Derek. Back the last time the track record was set, it was Jimmy Vasser 8 years ago in the days of unlimited horsepower and tires.
It was an impressive run by Allmendinger, but just watch what he does now. Watch him fight this car. Watch him position this car. Watch him push this car over the bumps. I'm going to watch the lap times here because he's in the 58s. 58.6 on the last lap. Junqueira 59.3. So he's over half a second clear of Junqueira, who's also clear by 0.3 of a second over Wilson.
Allmendinger with new confidence as he takes the lead here at Cleveland. Cosworth power to pass numbers top of your screen. Servia with a lot on the bank at 47 seconds. Allmendinger's still got 27 seconds of that extra 50 horsepower to use. And they're actually telling him to save some fuel now, Derek.
We wondered for the first 4 races of the season, is there anybody in Champ Car that can come up and challenge the Frenchman Sébastien Bourdais, the reigning champion? And suddenly we get an AJ Allmendinger waving the American flag. But here's the British flag here versus Mexico, or versus Junqueira of Brazil.
Trying to get close enough to Junqueira to challenge him for second. Wilson, we told you that on the Reds he was not very comfortable. The Bridgestone alternate tires. And he has not had speed, Derek, as we take a look at the lap times. He was a couple of tenths quicker than Bruno last time around.
Bruno hanging on to second. Has not had a great weekend. Bruno didn't qualify that well. Has never been at the head of the timesheets at any time. Has said before he's never qualified well here at Cleveland. But I think he's happy to be just running second right now.
Well, he's got to be happy. They had to pit him after that lap 1 incident, Derek. It was his rear wing that went flying. It had to be 50 feet in the air over the cars of Bourdais and Tracy. So they pitted him early, fixed the car, and sent him back out there. And Bruno, who was the fast qualifier at Portland, now runs second in front of the CDW9 of Wilson.
And we mentioned all the second place finishes for Wilson this season. Look at that. 5 consecutive top 5 finishes, but Bruno, who he's chasing, he's been second in the championship 3 times in a row. How frustrating is that for the Brazilian?
Well, coming off that huge injury he suffered last year at Indianapolis in the month of May, where has the 18 screws, putting his spine back together, the rehab, the healing, the training to get him ready to go racing this year. And of course, we're monitoring his heart rate here today to see how things develop, and that heart rate monitoring system, something everybody's very interested in. Oriol Serbia now battling for 5th, with Speedy Dan Clark starting to show some strength again.
Oh, Speedy Dan in the brake zone. He stuck the car on its nose. You saw him come right up behind the back of Serbia, wiggle just a little bit to show he's absolutely on the limit. Now, we didn't skip over Will Power. He is having a great day also in the Aussie Vineyards car, just ahead of these two boys.
Power sits 4th at the moment. His teammate Tagliani had led up until that last cycle of pit stops. Allmendinger stopped on lap 39, and we are now on lap 60, so he should be about 9 or 10 laps away from his second stop of the day. But A.J. Allmendinger at the head of the class, being told by Neil Mickelwright, go ahead and make hay. Try to build your lead right now. It's currently 6.7 seconds over Bruno Junqueira. There is Serbia, 3 straight top 10s, currently running 5th. Good qualifying effort for the team in the Gulfstream car number 6, started 4th here today.
There is Serbia. There's only 19 races on this car. These cars now have been around for a couple of years, but this one that he's in, that they built just last Tuesday back in their shop in Indianapolis, the history of the car shows it only raced 19 times. So Serbia in a pretty fresh monocoque.
Working lap 62 of 97, coming up to the 2/3 mark today at the Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland. 25th anniversary of the Roar by the Shore. Rock France Rookie of the Year award. Dan Clark leads the standings now, off his 6th a week ago with 58 points. All of this, if you're just joining us today on CBS Sports, it has been a wild one, beginning on lap number 1. Sebastian Bourdais, the points leader, taken out in this incident.
Pretty scary here. There's an incident with Ranger back here, but the big one happens with Tracy. Look at this here. Tracy gets sandwiched between Junqueira and Sebastian Bourdais, vaults right up over the top, lands on Sebastian Bourdais' head, sends him to the hospital. And unbelievably, Tracy was able to continue for the next 43 laps.
Meantime, while we show you what happened on lap 1, this is another look at one of the other incidents. Tagliani here gets forced off the road. He will touch wheels with Andrew Ranger. That was at the front end. That was before the Tracy getting airborne incident. Yellow again on lap 63. It's our 7th of the day. Andrew Ranger, we just saw him a moment ago in that MyJack car, has stopped on the racetrack.
Parked by the porta potty right there.
Not far from our broadcast location, right in front of the huge crowd here at Burke Lakefront Airport. This race has been revived. Let's take a look.
Oh, Ranger does what so many drivers did, coming out through the very last corner. The difficulty about this corner, right about here, you join the runway again, and there's a big bump, so you have to have the car absolutely lined up straight to go over that bump. If you're turning with the side of the car loaded, you can get yourself in trouble, as we saw here with Ranger, as we saw with Zwaldsman earlier on, Catherine Legge earlier on. Last year, if you remember, our race leader, Cristiano D'Amata, in the PKV car tripped over Will Power right there at that same spot.
Well, now we're on lap 63, and this should be tempting to some of these cars that are on the same pit stop sequence that stopped around lap 39. Some of these teams might try to stop now and go the rest of the way. We are 34 laps from home. Now, that's a little longer than you could run green flag conditions, but Jan, it looks like the CDW team, they're ready for Wilson, huh?
Yes, and that answers our question, because we talked about the fact that we thought that he did not like the reds and he liked the blacks. So they have laid out blacks. They will stop. And while we're waiting for him, let's get to Cameron Steele.
Well, we'll get to Cameron in just a moment. The Aussie Vineyards team awaiting their driver, Will Power, who runs in 4th. He also stopped on lap 39. So some of those cars, at least, Wilson and Power running 3rd and 4th, planning to stop right now. All right, let's check back in with Cameron.
Well, Derek Walker telling me it may be too early to come in, but they are all set up on pit wall. We will see what happens here. Whether he comes in or not, still a mystery to us. Maybe playing a little bit of a game here with television, knowing everybody is listening.
Andrew Ranger, who had that incident a moment ago, 4th in the championship at age 19, coming in here, Derek, but he has had a trouble-filled week. Now, Allmendinger is going to come to pit road.
Whoa.
He stopped on lap 39, rolling the dice, 34 laps from home.
How many times have you heard, follow the leader? What the leader does, follow his lead. Allmendinger is in. Jan?
Yes, and we're going to watch both A.J. Allmendinger and possibly Justin Wilson as well. Consider with all the caution we've had today, it could become a timed race, so we can't necessarily say how long they're going to have to go on fuel. The teams think now is the time to stop. And this is what they talk about A.J. They say he's one of the fastest cars coming onto pit road, waiting for the fuel. See, when you make a stop, he easily beats out Justin Wilson. And guys, what's worth thinking about, the reason that these pit stops are longer than you might expect is if you're going to try and go the whole way, you have to fill it absolutely to the top. There's not as much head pressure in the fuel tank. That's why the pit stops take longer. They want it totally to the top.
Well, right now, Junqueira is being shown as the leader, so that would mean he had stayed out. Bruno deciding, hey, even though I stopped the same time as the leader did the first time, I'm going to gamble a little bit here. He'll stay on the racetrack, and Justin Wilson did stop. Clark stays out as well. So Wilson will be the restart leader. Let's have a look. Wilson is lined up to come to pit road.
He's not allowed past Catherine. She's on the right side.
And
that was
Wilson
Bruno.
just
Bruno
does
right
go down into pit road. And that would have been Bruno Junqueira, I do believe. As we see the Bell Micro car of Catherine Legge being shown back in 12th position, 1 lap down from the leaders. So we'll reset for you. 33 laps to go here at Burke Lakefront Airport, the Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland.
So in a straight fight, Junqueira didn't believe he could beat Wilson potentially, or Allmendinger in particular, so he's going to try and beat it some other way with a strategic move. They are lighter on fuel here now. Wilson and Allmendinger are absolutely full to the brim, going to run to the end, but Junqueira still has to stop.
We are back still with caution showing on the speedway. Looked like they were coming perhaps to try a restart there, but it did not happen. The yellow flag remains out. So Junqueira will be the leader. Clark, Philippe, and Zwolsman are next in line.
Let's get the talk here and save fuel. Get tacked up. AJ, here's the deal. We might be able to make it to the end, but we're not sure.
Word to A.J. Allmendinger from his pit that if it goes green to the end, they might make it, they might not. We're 32 laps from home. Justin Wilson stopping as well there. And Bruno Junqueira electing to stay on the racetrack. Now, with 7 cautions in 65 laps, if you're an odds maker, you'd say, hey, we'll have another 1 or 2 yellows here.
That was Michael Cannon on the radio. Michael Cannon and Allmendinger seem to have a chemistry that has gelled very quickly. Ask Allmendinger, why is it so good? He said, Cannon just understands what he needs. Jan?
We heard from one of the pit crews they didn't know if they could make it. The Newman-Haas team for Bruno Junqueira believes that was just too early. They decided not to make a turn on pit road.
Getting ready to go for the restart this time to begin lap number 66, green and going. 31 laps remain today in Cleveland. Your leader, Junqueira. Speedy Dan Clark is in second. Moves to the inside. One of the Aussie Vineyards cars. That should be Power trying to make a move up through. Allmendinger trying to work his way back toward the front. He restarted in 7th spot. That is the blue and white Forsyth Index machine on board with Zwolsman here.
And that goes Allmendinger down the inside. What a slice down the inside of the right-hander.
Zwolsman shown 4th as they came to the stripe for the restart in the MyJack Conquest 34. One of the short shoots to the left-hander now, heading toward turn 5 and 6.
The one thing Allmendinger cannot afford now is to fly off the road at this delicate time when he is full of fuel, knowing that these leaders will have to stop before him. Junqueira, the experience, the exuberance of Dan Clark, his teammate led for 1 lap. Will Clark try and make the brave move? There is AJ.
Now he has had the fastest car in the joint for much of the afternoon. Coming up 30 to go this time. Lap traffic in play. That is Ranger.
Bruno goes down the inside. Dan Clark did not follow him.
The car kicking up some dust. That's been a problem here today. We've had a lot of cars put wheels off into the grass as Allmendinger sits 5th, working on Alex Tagliani, who led laps earlier. With all the caution, several of these key contenders have been on different pit stop sequences. Oh, so important in the Champ Car World Series.
Oh, how will this play out? That is Tag. Tag right ahead of Allmendinger.
Philippe is third, Clark is second. They're all chasing Bruno Junqueira at the moment in the hole-in-the-wall Camps 2 car. Riding here with Tag, having a look back at Allmendinger.
And I've showed you this before, but that is the pop-off valve, which regulates the turbocharged boost that regulates the amount of power these make. They are solidly mounted on the top of the engine, yet you still see them move around. There is so much flex all through these cars. The engine is bolted directly and solidly to the back of the tug.
Andrew Ranger now 3 laps down after that latest spin. Allmendinger wanted to get him there into 1. Allmendinger was held up. Tagliani got by, so that takes some of the pressure off Tag for the moment, who runs 4th.
Yeah, I don't think Ranger saw Allmendinger because he chopped down to the apex. He should have stayed wide if he saw Allmendinger there. I don't think he saw him.
As big, long, and fast as this place is, Derek, do the teams use spotters here?
Yes.
They have help?
Yes, they do. At this end of the racetrack, they do use spotters, but it's not used as often as you see some of the other racetracks.
Watching Tagliani, continuing to show in 4th position.
You have to be so inch perfect here because you are so fast. If you make a mistake or go offline like we saw Tracy, you will tattoo the concrete wall here.
A little further behind Tagliani, Ranger is still holding up Allmendinger, and Justin Wilson has caught him. Meantime, Charles Wolzman has spun in the other MyJack Conquest entry, the 34 car. Don't know where Wolzman's located exactly at the moment. That would be coming toward turn 8, we believe, and we're getting indications they will stay green. This will be a local yellow only. He's in a safe area off the track. I believe that's where Tracy went off in his second wild excursion of the day. Wolzman getting pointed in the right direction. He is off near our broadcast location, but off the racetrack quite a bit.
Just look at all the dirt that
take another look at it here. This is coming toward turn 8 again, and he was already off the road heading through this area.
And this is exactly where Tracy went off, and that concrete wall right there is Wolzman and Tracy. Watch this. He turns in. Grass comes up on the left side. Look. Oh, he drives her right off the road.
He's got a broken steering arm on the left side. You could see the left front wheel doing its own thing there. So one of the pieces, one of the A-arms or the control arms broke on Wolzman's car, evidently, and that may be what sent him off through the weeds. So as Wolzman being pulled to a safe area, we stay green. It's Junqueira with 27 laps to go. He's got a half-second lead in the shadow of Cleveland Brown Stadium. Looks like Junqueira's coming to pit road in just a couple of laps for his final stop of the day. Champ Car World Series as things wind down. There are 24 to go. Bruno Junqueira and the car of Dan Clark coming to pit road at the same time. They were the 2 leaders. Clark got away earlier from the CT HVM pits. Here's a look at the Clark stop. His was a bit quicker, Derek Daly.
Running second at the time, so they now have enough fuel to run Junqueira and Dan Clark. Clark on the red sidewall Bridgestones. Obviously likes those for his last run. There is Keith Wiggins, the owner, watching. Meanwhile, their teammate, Nelson Philippe, in the Wellbox car is sailing out in the lead.
Now, Philippe last stopped on lap 56. We've had some caution laps since. You'd think he could get to 86. We're hearing that they're going to bring him in on about lap 90. Lap 91, Philippe loose there off the corner. What about Dan Clark and Junqueira? Well, they get back on the racetrack in 8th and 9th, but Clark got out ahead of Bruno. So Clark 8th, and this could cycle around to his benefit. We'll see what happens. It was a very good stop for the CTE HVM team. Philippe was short-filled, we're told, last time around, so he will need to stop with about 16 laps remaining, and it'll be a short fill again for Nelson Philippe, who's on the Bridgestone Blacks right now. Everybody's got their calculators out along pit road because of all the yellow flag laps. And this is the CTE HVM team. The engineers poring over the laptops, trying to determine how many laps they need, when they need to stop, if this goes green all the way.
And that is Vince Kramer right there. You saw him on the left side of the screen. Will Phillips is the engineer. They are going through the numbers right now to see can they keep their man Nelson Philippe out in the lead for as long as possible and turn this hopefully into a podium. Cameron.
Well, I just wanted to quickly add that Nelson Philippe spent the week for the first time ever with his engineers staying at Will Phillips' house. He says they have made a bond and they're working closely together and giving a lot of good information. Back to the booth.
Problems for Will Power off the racetrack. Power was up in the top 5, 7th that time. He's another car and driver combination that got loose, Derek, out of the final corner here.
Yes, where he went off. Yeah, and of course he's got to drive right to the pits to have a new front wing put on him. That's the only damage that he did. Have a look at it right here, top of the screen. Wing already gone. Oh, there. Oh, man, that's what breaks the wing off.
It is very wet on the grounds here. It rained hard through Friday. If you were following news reports during the course of the week, you know there was heavy rain and flooding in northern Ohio for much of the week, and a lot of the grass here is just basically mud. So when a car goes off, we see mud and grass fly everywhere, and that did take the front wing off the Aussie Vineyards 5 car.
And that potentially might take him out of a top 10 position. He was 7th as he runs through the grass here. Goes into a big hole. That's what breaks the wing off the car right there. Look how high that thing is.
Our Cameron Steele, a veteran of the Baja 500 and 1000. Some off-roading being done by a lot of these contenders here. And here comes Will Power in car number 5, the Aussie Vineyards Walker Racing entry. They'll have to put a new nose on that machine under green, so Power's opportunity to score a top 10 here will probably go away. This will get him home if they need to fill him up and put tires on. They're doing that while they change the front wing.
Nelson Philippe just did a 57.95. He is running half a second faster than Tagliani, and he's also running 0.3 of a second faster than A.J. Allmendinger. So Nelson Philippe is absolutely flying here.
On light fuel, Tagliani trying to track down Philippe, but Philippe is out in front. Coming up now on the car of Jan Halen, who brought out a caution earlier when he tried to dive bomb off a restart down into turn 1. Philippe blows by the 11 car. That's the second Dale Coyne entry. Now Mario Dominguez led laps earlier for Coyne, and Mario is 6th after the cycle of pit stops. Philippe with a couple of top 5s and another top 10. What's really hurt Philippe in the championship hunt, Derek, was at Monterrey, Mexico. Earlier in the season, 3rd race of the year, he got taken out on lap 1 by his teammate, Darren Clark. Didn't finish. Here comes Power with a new nose piece on the Aussie Vineyards car, accelerating up through the gears.
Philippe is in trouble.
Nelson Philippe may have run out of fuel. They short-filled him last time. They were going to stop with 16 to go. There are 20 laps left, and Philippe appears to be perhaps out of fuel. Unbelievable for the CTE HVM team. Philippe drives it onto the grass, and he will lose the lead and undoubtedly lose his opportunity to win here today at Burke Lakefront Airport. I bet they ran him out of fuel, Derek Dale.
Don't tell me that that thing is dry.
Full course yellow. Now what does this do with 19 laps to go, and Justin Wilson is off track. Wilson climbs out of the Roosport CDW9 car. So Wilson 2nd in the championship with those 4 runner-up finishes, the 5 top 5s. He's done for the day, perhaps out of fuel, although it looks like the car might be bent a little. Let's have a look.
On board with Justin Wilson, turns in. This is across the runways again. Oh, right front suspension broke.
Yes, it did, and he does hit the wall. Thought that car looked askew when he climbed out of it and threw the gloves.
We saw
full course yellow.
Same thing that happened to Ranger when we saw him. There's Carl Russo, the owner of Roo Sport. And it is Roo Sport. I've called it Roo Sports many times. It is Roo Sport. Justin Wilson breaks a right front steering arm, it looked like.
That would be the 2nd one of the day, because we believe Zwolsman broke a left front steering arm. And there is the 4-car race leader, Nelson Philippe, out of fuel, we believe. No fire in the hole. He is off the track. It appears done for the day. Now, this puts Tagliani into the lead in front of Allmendinger, Servia, Dominguez, and Clark. Bruno is 6th in front of Halen. We'll be right back after a word from your local station. Back in Cleveland, under caution for an incident with Justin Wilson, Oriol Servia, Alex Tagliani, who was the leader, both stopping. They couldn't make the last 17 laps. Denise Casabet's also on pit road in the Rocket Sports blue and yellow machine. Servia away first. Now, he was 6th before that yellow, and Servia is down and away. That vaults Allmendinger out in front. 17 laps left, Derek. He stopped on lap 64. Let's take a moment and update you. Your chance not to enter the Champ Car Live Fast sweepstakes presented by Bridgestone. Win a trip to the Grand Prix of Toronto, plus some Bridgestone Potenza tires, or an Auto Week subscription. Our grand prize winner gets that new Ford Mustang GT and will join us in Mexico City. Code word Justin this week, the official rules and an entry at champcar.ws. Champ Car's Live Fast sweepstakes is brought to you by Bridgestone. Bringing the CDW9 car in on the hook, Justin Wilson breaking a front end piece and into the concrete. Jan Beekes, what's going on?
And while it's on the hook, we talked to Jeremy Dale, the president of Bruce Sport. You could clearly see something broke in the front. What do you think it is?
Not quite sure, Jan. I mean, you know, as you know, this racetrack is incredibly demanding physically on both the driver and the car. It did look like a right front suspension failure, but until the car gets back here, until all the guys can take a look at it, we won't know for sure. But it is very disappointing. We thought we had a strategy to win this race. He was doing good solid lap times, good fuel numbers. We thought we could win it.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Good news for Sebastian Bourdais, two-time winner here at Cleveland. He has been released from the hospital after a checkout. He had a CAT scan. He is fine. Now, while we were under caution before pit road opened, a little contretemps here between Speedy Dan Clark and Will Power.
I'm not so sure Will Power realized Clark was out to his right side because he suddenly ducked out under him, and then they began to fight over the piece of ground. As wide as this track is, they fight over the ground under yellow.
Let's have another look here.
There's Speedy Dan, left side. He suddenly goes down underneath Will Power. Maybe he's trying to make a point that he believes he should be ahead of Will Power.
Getting ready for a restart. Be 15 laps to go next time by Derek Daly. Now the question mark is AJ Allmendinger. He cycles back to the head of the class here. He stopped on lap 64. We've had a lot of yellow flag laps. He will have to go 33 laps to get home. And the Forsyth team telling him you're very close on fuel. Allmendinger's fast. Does he short shift? Does he take it easy here?
Well, he's going to be chased by Dominguez, Clark, and Junqueira. Wilson is gone, so the really quick guys are gone. Junqueira is quick. Bourdais is no longer here, so he could be in good shape. Cameron?
Well, they got Nelson Philippe in, and they did get him refired after giving him fuel, and now with Keith Wiggins. What's happening right now with Speedy Dan Clark?
Well, you know, he's in good shape. We had a good stop and everything else. We're a bit tight on fuel. So we just, you know, hopefully we'll get to the end in good shape.
What happened to Philippe? Do you guys know what happened? Were you talking about it at all?
Well, I was listening to them on the other stand, and we're not sure. We were. It shows that we should have been okay for fuel, but it was marginal, and so I think the jury's out until we've had another closer look.
We'll have a look and see, but they definitely took quite some time to get that car restarted once fuel was put in.
Well, we're understanding we've got indications Philippe did get restarted. He had an electrical problem, evidently. It looks like he's recycled the ignition system on that car, and they did get the 4-car restarted. What a heartbreak for Nelson Philippe, Derek Daly.
He led the race. His brother, Richard Philippe, is only 15. He finished second in the Atlantic race earlier today. His mom and dad are here, so it's been a good weekend for the Philippes, but this was a heartbreak here. They just sent him right straight through?
They did, right through pit road and back out, so he'll rejoin at the back of the pack, but Philippe lost a couple of laps, being shown 2 laps down now in 10th position. I would assume that they at least gave him some fuel to make sure he could get home here today. 15 to go, still under yellow as they retrieve the CDW9 car of Justin Wilson. Great shot from that onboard camera, the CDW camera that we saw a moment ago. And you can see Wilson do something, Derek, that you know how to do. You pull your hands off the wheel as you know you're going into the wall. Michael Cannon, meantime, ready to talk to AJ Allmendinger, conversing with him on the radio, I'm sure about fuel mileage, as he will have to go 33 laps here.
They do about 1.8 to 2 miles to the gallon. Under yellow, they can do as much as 5 miles to the gallon. So as much yellow as you can get right now is going to be good for Allmendinger, because we know it's touch and go whether he can make it here, because he stopped so close to the full fuel window, which is about 28 laps depending on how hard you run.
Pace car pulling in. Looks like we're going to go green this time, Derek.
What a story this will be. If he comes in on the very first pit stop, sets a new track record in qualifying, comes off his first win in Portland, goes to the back of the field, ends up at the front of the field. What another storyline this may be.
Well, how about AJ Allmendinger, your leader, but Mario Dominguez second in front of Dan Clark and Bruno Junqueira. Dominguez, remember, he found the wall yesterday with his primary Sonny's Pit Barbecue car. backup entry, and Dominguez is second.
And he's second with great speed also. He hasn't been limping along all day and fallen the right side of the yellows. Dominguez has shown a great show of speed here in Dale Coyne's car. And just watch how he's going to hang on, or try and hang on, to the back of A.J. Allmendinger here.
Dominguez is second for the Dale Coyne team. What a great day this would be for the Coyne squad out of Chicago, Illinois, if Dominguez can boot that thing home onto the podium in second. Dan Clark is third, a second back. Bruno Junqueira fourth in front of Jan Halen.
I'm not sure Dominguez can make it all the way because he stopped 2 laps earlier than Allmendinger, but Dominguez was part of the big trade that happened about 2.5 weeks ago when D'Amata was plucked to Rousport. Allmendinger was kicked out, and Dominguez was then kicked out of Forsyth.
As we watch Speedy Dan Clark in third spot in the 14 trying to chase down Dominguez, you got to look there going down into turn 1. That was Oriol Serbia taking 5th away from Jan Halen. So Serbia in the PKV 6 car, that's the Gulfstream entry, he is on the charge now as well. Clark trying to track down Dominguez, and Dominguez did stop on lap 62. Now, if we get all the way home, and there were some concerns, this might turn out to be a timed race today with the 2-hour time limit in effect. Dominguez could have a problem because he would end up going 35 laps on this tank of fuel. A lot of them under caution, of course. Clark may have him on speed, though, Derek.
Oh, Clark is coming up behind Dominguez. Once he gets that close as he goes through these corners, Clark, I think, is going to make the dive bomb move in some of these brake zones.
Down into turn number 1. Clark trying to wrest second away, but he pushes wide. Cameron Steele.
Well, Dale Coyne, we're watching right now the battle between Mario and Dan Clark, and you guys have enough fuel to make it all the way.
As long as it's a timed race, like they said it was going to be for you guys, so we do a nice job for everybody. We'll make it. So it's going to be close, really close.
He told me just moments ago that they were really skating the edge there with fuel, and he's crossing his fingers for a timed race.
Oh! Trouble for one of the Aussie Vineyards cars. I believe that's Will Power who's turned around and off into the grass again in the 5 car. So Power is off. Will Power, who was running 8th, he had a problem earlier. We showed you how he got off course coming out of turn 10 and went down into the grass and went way high in the air. Allmendinger, your leader. We've got about 8 minutes and 40 seconds of racing left. We'll stay green. About 8 laps to go for Allmendinger and Dominguez. Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Laps winding down at Burke Lakefront Airport. Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland with Derek Daly, I'm Rick Benjamin, Jan Beekes, Cameron Steele on pit road. This one will end up being a timed event. We've got about 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Should be about 5, maybe 6 laps. We should be about 3 laps short of the planned distance because we've had 7 full course yellows here today and a very long one to start the race after the huge wreck involving Paul Tracy, Sebastian Bourdais. Bourdais has been released from the hospital after a precautionary CAT scan. Battling for second spot, this is still Dan Clark all over Mario Dominguez, chasing the leader Allmendinger. Jan Beekes.
And the man who hoped he was going to be chasing Allmendinger is Justin Wilson. It looked like something broke on the front of the car.
Yeah, something started to go amiss earlier on, about 5-6 laps before that. My wheel was getting more and more misaligned, and it felt different from corner to corner, so it finally broke something on the steering. It's disappointing because we're getting the mileage that we could have got to the end. Even when that happened, it killed my mileage, but I still managed to step the mileage back up and get to the target, so we were good for the end.
All right, sorry to make it to the finish. Thank you.
Justin Wilson, first time this year out of the top 5. He'll be scored 13th. One more look.
He turns right. It's when he turns left right here. Watch this wheel. There it is. See it? See it? Steering arm brakes. And then, of course, he goes in and kisses the concrete.
Great move by Wilson to let go of the steering wheel as he has a word with team owner Carl Russo, who is anticipating another 1-2 finish with this driver just fired by Rousport about 10-12 days ago. A.J. Allmendinger hoping to become the first American to win back-to-back Champ Car World Series events since 1996. 10 years ago, it was Michael Andretti who got the job done at Vancouver and at Road America, where we will return in September of this year. The 24-year-old races out of Denver, Colorado now, won 1 week ago to get a huge monkey. That wasn't just a monkey, that was a gorilla. I think he got off his back a week ago, Derek.
What a star, A.J. Allmendinger. We always thought he could win. Something always went wrong. Nelson Philippe here is back underway. Philippe has shown in the top 10. However, he is still those 2 laps down. He will be livid with whatever. It might have been something very, very simple. But however, Nelson Philippe still made a statement. He's running at a 58.2. Believe it or not, that is quicker than the leader, Allmendinger.
But he's been black flagged, Derek, because of avoidable contact with Will Power. We saw it a moment ago. Have another look at it. This was under caution as they were headed to the backside of the racetrack. Take a look at this. This is Philippe and Power.
What is that all about?
Well, that was what we saw earlier during the last caution before the previous restart. Champ Car officials deciding that Philippe had a situation there where he could have avoided that contact with Clark. They black flagged him. He led earlier. Electrical problems were what sent him to the grass. As we mentioned, he did recycle the electrics in the car and get it restarted. He lost several laps in the exchange, and now the black flag will take him. Well, he's still shown 10th here, 2 laps down.
I am impressed by Allmendinger. I am even more impressed by Dominguez and Dale Coyne Racing.
Yep.
And then Dan Clark, who is getting closer and closer to the front of these races, because remember, the guys they're running ahead of are Bruno Junqueira and Oriol Servia, both race winners.
Now, that's what I was going to say, Derek. Would you have thought coming in here today that Bruno Junqueira, who's 4th, and Servia, who's 5th, wouldn't be able to pass Dan Clark and Mario Dominguez in a backup Dale Coyne car?
With the crash that we saw Dominguez have yesterday, and it was a wallop against the concrete wall. I'm surprised he's even fit enough to drive the car. Jan?
With Michael Cannon. Michael, I know you're coaching AJ on the radio about fuel. Can you make it?
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it was 97 laps, we're going all the way. We're good. It's pretty much a done deal.
As long as it stays together, right?
Indeed. There's always that. I think we all remember Al Jr. at Elkhart one year, don't we?
All right, we wish you well. Thank you.
I think earlier on I said it was Bourdais who said when the track rubbers in, the blacks are as good. It actually was Michael Cannon, and he was referring to A.J. Allmendinger's final run at Portland on the black Bridgestone Potenzas. So Michael Cannon, believe everything that man says.
Only 1:38 to go by the clock. A 2-hour time limit in effect here. So they'll see the white flag next time by. Lap and a half from home for Allmendinger, bidding to become the first back-to-back USA-born winner in 10 years in the Champ Car World Series. Michael Cannon mentioned Al Jr., Al Unser Jr. at Elkhart. That would be Road America in Wisconsin, where the series returns in September this year.
Who's actually here this weekend? Al Unser Jr.
Dominguez continues to run second. He started 17th today, Derek, in that backup car for Dale Coyne Racing. You don't think Dominguez has a little bit to prove here this weekend, getting booted out of that 7 car to make room for Allmendinger earlier, just before Portland.
He has one more push to pass left. He has one more left.
Clark putting pressure on. White flag. Here comes Clark for second spot. Down the inside into 1. And Dan Clark gets by Dominguez. Now Dominguez right back at him. Goes around. Clark makes contact with Dominguez. Clark got on the gas too soon.
He's still on us.
He's got a broken nose. The wing is gone from the front of the 14 car. He can't even get it pointed in the right direction. Look at Dale Coyne's expression. Why did he drill my guy?
Dan Clark used so much horsepower, he'll be dizzy. He must have spun 7 times. He made the banzai move down the inside and didn't manage to pull it off.
A.J. Allmendinger, Dan Clark stalled the car after the contact. Look at that visor up, done for the day, pounding the wheel in frustration. But A.J. Allmendinger is going to win 2 straight. And Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. The weekend's fast qualifier in the Forsyth INDYCAR Racing car number 7. A.J. Allmendinger comes home a winner at Cleveland.
Wow, this was action-packed. That was his dad, Greg, right there, arms in the air. Junqueira manages to be second.
Junqueira and Servia, because Dominguez did not come around. Dominguez is stalled on the racetrack too. Allmendinger may run that thing out of fuel, trying to get some donuts going here.
Okay, come on, AJ.
There he goes.
Let's see. I'm going to judge them.
Bruno Junqueira somehow stole second.
I wasn't too impressed with Portland, so he said he's going to impress me today.
There is Mario Dominguez. I thought he was clear of the Dan Clark contact. He was not. He was hit. That you saw that expression from the timing stand on the face of owner Dale Coyne. Now, there is Allmendinger. This is for the white flag. Here's the move by Clark.
Okay, Clark comes down. Now he's got the move made here. Dominguez cannot turn in. Clark has the move made. Just get on the power, nice and easy. Once he gets sideways, sideways, sideways. Oh, and he just gathers up Mario. I still thought Mario could actually keep going here. Now watch this. Watch this by Dan Clark.
Well, let's have another look at the contact first.
Yeah.
Going into one.
This is the dunce's cap for Dan Clark here. Last lap. Oh, he wipes out Mario Dominguez, wipes out himself, does a spin. He's out of control, doesn't know what gear he's in, spins again, smokes the tires, does it again. Here it is again.
Look at the pass
Turn
down into
one.
one.
Plenty of room. Got the pass made. Now he hasn't made. Now just get on the power nice and easy. Easy and steady. Floors it. Gets it sideways. I feel so bad for Mario Dominguez and Dale Coyne that they got trapped.
Unbelievable.
In Dan Clark's brain fade.
Now, we've kidded about Dan Clark as a rookie. Speedy Dan, was he dangerous Dan? He had problems earlier in the year. He'd improved dramatically. That was a return to what had happened earlier in there. You see Mario Dominguez waving from the passenger seat in the safety truck. And A.J. Allmendinger out on the racetrack celebrating his second consecutive Champ Car World Series victory here at Burke Lakefront Airport, the 25th running of the Grand Prix of Cleveland to A.J. Allmendinger. We will be back to talk to the winner. Junqueira comes across second. Dominguez and Clark are scored 6th and 7th. We'll be back. Well, the #1 driver in the Champ Car World Series at the moment is A.J. Allmendinger. Jan Beekes.
And the confetti, red, white, and blue, very appropriate. And that goes to show what A.J. Allmendinger thinks of the Forsyth crew. A.J., unbelievable. If we talked about your first win in Portland being a Hollywood script, you have to say this one is like a fairy tale.
Oh, man, I don't know if that was a nightmare at first or a fairy tale. I don't know what, but those are the guys right there. They are absolutely amazing. Michael Cannon, I can't give the guy enough credit. I told him, I said, sorry, guys, I'm going to make this up to you. I knew the car was so blistering fast, and so many times I thought, this is going to work out. So many times the yellow came out at the wrong time. I thought, oh, this isn't going to work. But thanks to everybody. Thanks to Red Bull. Sticking behind me, whole Forsyth team, Bridgestone, Puma, just everybody.
Now, when you said sorry to him, what were you saying sorry about? What happened in the beginning?
Obviously it's Cleveland turn 1. I saw Oriole go around the outside of me, and he got a run on me into 2, and I panicked. He ducked under me, and I saw his car twitch, and I thought he was going to get into me, and I just kind of tried to get out of the way, and it just stepped the car out, and I went through the grass, and luckily there was yellow because the wing was off. But man, I think on those donuts I absolutely burn these Bridgestones down to the cord. So hopefully I got to do that so many times.
Congratulations, 2 in a row for AJ.
Joins a new team and then comes home a winner 2 consecutive weeks as Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. Allmendinger your winner by 3.2 seconds over Bruno Junqueira, Oriole Servia, Alex Tagliani, and Jan Halen gets his first career top 5. That's some consolation for Dale Coyne. Derek Dominguez ends up 6th.
Dale Coyne had a great day. He just didn't get the results that team merited.
And Sebastian Bourdais was the first car out. We'll be back at Cleveland.
We're back here in Cleveland. I'm with Bruno Junqueira, who betters his top finish of a 4th today with the 2nd, but it looks like you're lucky that you finished it all, Bruno.
Yeah, I mean, the first lap, I think Tracy hit my back and broke my rear wing, broke some other piece of my car, and from there we were a lap down and were able to get back and even lead the race for a while. Great job for the new NASCAR team. The car wasn't perfect because of that, but I still managed to finish 2nd. I'm quite happy with that.
Congratulations. Still looking for his 9th win of his career. I'll have to wait for the next round.
Well, Bruno Junqueira, a nice 2nd today with a car that was wounded. That was his wing that went flying in the air on that lap 1 huge wreck. Championship, still Bourdais in command ahead of Wilson. Allmendinger with a big jump up to 3rd still, but only 31 back. Paul Tracy falls out of the top 10. He is shown 11th. Jan Beekes.
With an extremely frustrated Mario Dominguez, as expected. It looked to you, you certainly thought you had a podium wrapped up, and certainly 2nd was a great shot.
Well, we were doing so good. I was struggling the whole race with a bit of gearbox problems. We're just doing the best pit strategy we could have done. It seemed to work. And go figure, I started to run a little bit out of fuel in the end. One of the CTE cars passed me, and then he spins in front of me, and I couldn't avoid him. Broke my steering, couldn't finish the race. It's just the most unfortunate thing. The Dale Coyne people have worked so hard. Dale Coyne is the greatest guy I've ever met, and this team is the hardest working team I've ever been in my life with.
Now tell me, it was a case where if you had not had a little bit of fuel starvation, he wouldn't have got close enough? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he wouldn't have got close enough to pass me. But then, you know, it's just why, you know, he spins in front of me. It's just, of course he didn't mean to. It's just very unfortunate for me. It's the worst thing that could have happened, but we'll keep on trying.
Hey, you showed your speed. Good job.
Thanks to Dale Coyne.
Well, Mario Dominguez has to settle for 6th. Looked like he had 2nd wrapped up, but the Coyne team gets 5th and 6th. The Rush Friends Rookie of the Year standings. Despite that hit with Dominguez, Speedy Dan Clark still leads with 75 points. Catherine Legg 2nd, 3 back. Halen with a big move after that top 5 today. Then Power, Zwolsman, and Nikki Pastorelli. So a wild one here at Burke Lakefront Airport. AJ Allmendinger wins 2 straight. First 2 wins for Forsyth Racing this year. And now we look ahead to Toronto. Up next on CBS, 21 pros from 21 countries compete for the $500,000 grand prize. It's the International Poker Championship. CBS Sports coverage of auto racing continues next Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern. The American Le Mans Series returns with the New England Grand Prix from Lime Rock Park. And be sure to join us in 2 weeks for Bridgestone presents the Champ Car World Series powered by Ford. It's the Molson Grand Prix of Toronto, Sunday, July 9th. We'll be with you at 12:30 Eastern from Exhibition Place in Toronto. For Derek Daly and Jan Pikus, Cameron Steele and Michelle Beisner, I'm Rick Benjamin, congratulating our winner 2 in a row for AJ Allmendinger. So long from the Champ Car Grand Prix of Cleveland.